Welcome to Phantom Tales from Vietnam, a channel that brings you chilling spiritual stories rooted in real life. We begin with the tale of a mother-in-law who, driven by her desire for a male heir, followed the whispers of dark spirits, only to be left with an unredeemable regret. Ngoc Han was born into an ordinary family in the city, the youngest of two daughters. Gentle by nature and diligent in her studies, she graduated from university and became an accountant at a construction company. It was there she met Duc Uy, the head of the technical department, 4 years her senior. On their first meeting, he didn't leave much of an impression. But as they worked together, Han gradually saw that he was calm, responsible, and never raised his voice at anyone. After nearly a year of dating, they decided to get married. The wedding wasn't grand, but it was respectful and complete. Moving in together, Han lived with her mother-in-law, Mrs. Jiang, in a 3-story house on the outskirts of the city. Mrs. Jiang had been widowed since Uy was a child and raised him alone. She was stubborn and hard to please. At first, she was polite toward Han, but as years passed without a child, the gap between them widened. Han and Uy went to many doctors. All results came back normal. She wasn't infertile. He wasn't weak. Still, the years passed without a child. Whenever Mrs. Jiang saw neighbors with grandchildren, she sighed and made passive-aggressive remarks. Sometimes she told others that maybe her daughter-in-law had once had an abortion and was now being punished by the heavens. Han overheard this and was crushed. Why, caught in the middle, sometimes defended his wife, sometimes stayed silent. One day Han came home early and found her mother-in-law burning incense and praying inside her and Uy's bedroom. On a makeshift altar stood 2 porcelain dolls, one male, one female, dressed like deities. Han was horrified. She asked why there was an altar in their private room. Mrs. Jiang said she had invited 2 spirit deities, a god brother and god sister, to pray for a grandchild. Han suggested moving the altar to the prayer room, but her mother-in-law refused. That night, Uy was on a work trip, leaving Han alone with his mother. The wind howled outside. Tired, Han went to bed early. Around midnight, she awoke feeling someone hugging her from behind. The hand was icy cold, the skin dry and stiff like a corpse. Thinking it was Uy, she turned, but no one was there. It was too real to be a dream. Her skin still crawled. The next morning, she called Uy. He confirmed he was still at the construction site. Han didn't dare tell him what happened, but the strange sensations kept coming each night. Faint touches on her thighs, belly, and skin, like something was caressing her. Sometimes she felt something straddling her. Then, 2 weeks later, Han discovered she was pregnant. The news brought great joy. Mrs. Jiang rejoiced, preparing offerings to thank the porcelain dolls, claiming their power was miraculous. But Han couldn't feel joy. She hadn't been with her husband during that time. How could she be pregnant? The pregnancy progressed abnormally. At just 3 months, her belly looked ready to deliver. Even the doctors were puzzled, though no danger was detected. The nighttime visits stopped, but shadows lingered around her bed. Once, she clearly saw a tall man standing by the window, holding white flowers staring at her. Another night, a woman's voice whispered, "Our baby is growing so fast, eating so well, he loves you." Terrified, Han wanted to return to her parents' house, but Mrs. Jiang stopped her, saying the visions were divine dreams, signs that the child was a gift from heaven. But Han saw something different in her mother-in-law's eyes. No longer rational but obsessed. Her belly continued to grow. Her skin cracked and peeled. Black veins surfaced like roots. At night, she suffered intense cramps. Once, she rolled on the floor in agony, feeling something clawing and kicking from within. The most horrifying night came when she was half conscious and saw her belly swell unnaturally. From beneath her skin, a face appeared, sunken eyes, a wide grin, clawed fingers scratching from inside. Han screamed. Mrs. Jiang rushed in and witnessed it. For the first time, fear overtook her. Han was rushed to the hospital. The ultrasound revealed no fetus, but a dark mass writhing like a living creature. They prepared to transfer her. In the chaos, Mrs. Jiang sought out a shaman named Tu, only to discover his house was abandoned. Neighbors said he'd vanished days ago. Desperate, she found Master Min, a renowned exorcist. He arrived that night. Upon entering, he grimaced, saying the room reeked of heavy yin energy. When shown the dolls, his face turned pale. "These are not gods," he said. "They're demons in disguise. They feed on worship and blind faith. Once strong enough, they find a host to breed. The male demon invaded Han's dreams, coupling with her spirit. The female fed the fetus with her blood and flesh. This thing inside her isn't a child, it's a demon infant." He explained that once the fetus matured, it would kill the host and take her body. Time was running out. Thankfully, Han was still alive. The creature hadn't fully merged. That night, he performed an exorcism. Han lay in a protective circle, surrounded by assistants with bells, wooden swords, and holy water. Master Min chanted, rang bells that echoed through the house. The lights flickered. Cold wind howled in. Han convulsed. Her belly looked ready to explode. A horrible scream burst from her lips. Not human. Blood streamed from her nose and ears. Master Min shouted, commanding the entity to leave. Finally, a cloud of black smoke burst from her stomach, forming a childlike shadow crawling toward the dolls. He drove his sword through all three and burned them in sacred fire. The flames roared, and a haunting wail filled the air, then silence. Mrs. Jiang collapsed, weeping. Han fainted. She was hospitalized. Doctors said the foreign entity was gone, but her body was weakened and needed long recovery. As for Mrs. Jiang, she shaved her head and entered a monastery, repenting for nearly causing her daughter-in-law's death due to blind superstition. On the day she was discharged, Han sat in a wheelchair, staring out into the sunlit courtyard. Her heart was strangely empty. She had once longed for a child desperately, but never imagined it would come from a demon. Her pain wasn't just physical, but the shattering of trust and reality. At night, she still dreamed of that baby's face, grinning beneath her skin. A whisper, "I miss you, Mother," still echoed faintly. Though the terror was over, the spiritual scar would haunt her forever. No one could understand the fear of a woman who once carried a demon child. Thank you for listening and visiting Phantom Tales from Vietnam. We hope today's story brought you chills and reflection. Don't forget to follow the channel so you won't miss the next haunting tale from the spirit world